It was a quiet evening in the Turner household, the kind where the only sounds that filled the air were the clinking of cutlery and the low hum of the street outside. Jessica sat at the dinner table, her eyes fixed on her plate, though she wasn't particularly hungry. She could feel her heart racing, her palms slightly clammy. Tonight was different. She could sense it in the air, thick with tension. Ty, her husband of 7 years, sat across from her, casually pushing food around his plate, unaware of the storm that was brewing in Jessica's mind. He was his usual self, calm, confident, with a smile that could ease any tension, but tonight it was Jessica's turn to be the one to speak up. Taking a deep breath, she finally broke the silence. "Ty, I need to talk to you about something," she said, her voice slightly quivering. Ty looked up, his brow furrowing slightly in curiosity, setting down his fork. "What's on your mind, love?" he asked, his voice warm and inviting. I've been thinking about something," Jessica continued, the words stumbling out of her mouth. "What if we try an open relationship?" The moment the words left her lips, she could see the immediate shock in Ty's eyes. His face froze, the room suddenly feeling colder, more distant. For a moment, it seemed like the world stood still. Ty swallowed, his hand gripping the edge of the table. "I'm sorry, what did you say?" he asked, his voice hoarse with surprise. Jessica shifted in her seat, her fingers nervously twirling the edge of her napkin. I think we need something different. I feel like we're stuck in a routine, and maybe this is the way to spice things up, to bring something new to our lives." Ty didn't respond immediately. He was processing, his mind racing. "Are you sure about this, Jess?" he asked, his voice a mixture of concern and confusion. Jessica hesitated, her eyes searching his for reassurance, but finding none. "I don't know," she murmured. "I just think it might work." The days that followed were filled with uncertainty. Jessica could see the confusion in Ty's eyes whenever he looked at her. She had expected this kind of reaction. After all, it was a huge request, but the silence between them only deepened her doubts. She began questioning herself. Was this really what she wanted? What if it ruined everything they had? She watched him carefully, his every movement now seeming to hold more weight. When he left for work, or when he went out for his daily runs, Jessica found herself overthinking. She checked her phone constantly, unable to ignore the nagging feeling that perhaps she had made a mistake. That evening, as Ty walked in from a late meeting, she was sitting on the couch, her hands clenched in her lap. He smiled as he walked through the door, but she could see the weariness in his eyes. "I've been thinking about what you said," Ty began cautiously. "I just don't know if I'm ready for this. It feels wrong." Jessica felt her heart sink. She had hoped he would come around, but now she realized she had asked too much, too soon. "I'm sorry, Ty," she said softly. "I didn't mean to push you." Ty stood still for a moment, lost in his thoughts. "Maybe we need to talk about this more," he suggested quietly. "But I'm not sure where to go from here." Days turned into weeks, and Ty's willingness to engage in the idea of an open relationship seemed to waver. The tension between them grew, an invisible wall being built brick by brick. Yet, Ty had agreed to go on a date, just one, to test the waters. When the evening arrived, Jessica watched him prepare. She saw the change in his mannerisms, his nervous energy as he slipped into his nicest shirt and adjusted his cufflinks. He looked more like the man she married, but at the same time, something felt different, distant. "You look great," she said, offering a smile that she didn't fully mean. Ty turned, giving her a tight smile in return. "Thanks. I'll be back soon." And with that, he was gone. Jessica sank into the sofa, her heart racing as she stared at the door, waiting for it to open again. But the minutes dragged on, and with every passing second, her anxiety grew. What was he doing? Who was he with? Did he like her more than he liked her? Her phone buzzed. It was a message from Ty, having a great time. "I'll be back later." The text felt like a blow to her chest. Ty returned home much later that night, his eyes sparkling with excitement, his voice lighter than it had been in weeks. Jessica stood in the hallway, waiting for him, her arms crossed. "Hey Jess," Ty greeted, walking through the door with a broad smile. It was amazing. "I've never felt so free." Jessica felt her stomach churn at the word. "Free," she repeated. Her heart sank. Ty continued, oblivious to the discomfort written all over her face. "I just feel like a weight has been lifted off me. I didn't realize how much I was holding back. This is good, Jess. It's good for us." But Jessica could barely hear him. The words echoed in her mind, but the room seemed to close in around her. Free? This wasn't freedom. This felt like the end. As the days passed, Jessica found herself spiraling into a whirlpool of jealousy. She had asked for this, and yet every time Ty went out with someone else, every time he came home with a new story, she felt a stabbing ache in her chest. Was this what she wanted? Was she really okay with watching her husband connect with someone else, knowing that he would come home to her at the end of the day? One evening, Ty came back from another date, his mood buoyant. But Jessica couldn't hide her discomfort any longer. "Ty," she began, her voice shaky. "I can't do this anymore. I can't keep pretending that everything is fine when I feel like I'm losing you. This is killing me." Ty paused, his face faltering as he looked at her. "What do you mean, Jess? I thought this was what we wanted." "No," Jessica said, shaking her head. "It's not what I want. I want us. I want you." Days passed, and Jessica felt herself sinking deeper into anxiety. Every time Ty left the house to meet someone, jealousy gnawed at her heart. She tried to stay calm, pretending not to care, but her heart told a different story. Every time Ty came back, he seemed more alive, more energetic, while Jessica felt smaller and forgotten. One night, Ty returned after another date. His face was glowing with happiness that he couldn't hide, but to Jessica, that happiness felt like a wound. As Ty sat on the sofa and started telling her how amazing the woman he met was, Jessica felt as though the world was no longer the place she recognized. "I feel so free, Jess," Ty said enthusiastically. "This is incredible. I feel like I can breathe again." But those words only deepened the jealousy that was growing inside Jessica. She stared at him, the fear overwhelming her. "What happened to us, Ty?" Jessica asked in a strained voice, trying to hold back her tears. "You're talking like we were never there. Is this what we wanted? Are we still in love with each other?" Ty fell silent, his face torn between guilt and confusion. "Jess, I don't know. I feel caught between what you want and what I want. I never meant to hurt you." Jessica felt the desperation rising within her. "I don't think I can keep doing this, Ty. You're out there having all these experiences, and I'm here waiting, feeling like I'm losing you." Ty looked down at his hands, struggling to find the right words. "I didn't think it would feel this way, Jess. I thought I was doing what you wanted." The days that followed were filled with quiet reflection. Jessica sat in their living room, her thoughts in turmoil. The reality of her request, the open relationship, was sinking in, and the consequences were clear. She felt like she had pushed Ty away instead of bringing them closer. The happiness she thought would blossom from their newfound freedom had instead created a rift she didn't know how to mend. That evening, after Ty returned from yet another night out, Jessica couldn't hold it in anymore. She found herself standing before him, her voice trembling as she spoke. "Ty, I'm so sorry," Jessica said, her voice breaking. "I thought I knew what I wanted, but I was wrong. It's not what I thought it would be." Ty's expression softened, but his eyes were still full of confusion. "I never wanted you to feel this way, Jess. I don't know what to do now." Jessica sat down, the weight of her emotions making her feel like she might break. "I wanted us to be happy, but I feel like I'm losing myself in this whole thing. I've never felt more alone." Ty knelt in front of her, gently taking her hands in his. "We both made mistakes, but we can figure this out, Jess. We need to find a way back to each other." After their heartfelt conversation, they spent several hours talking, opening up about their feelings and fears. They both realized that they had lost touch with each other, wrapped up in the idea of freedom, when what they truly needed was trust, communication, and a deeper connection. "I don't want to lose you, Ty," Jessica said, her voice quiet but firm. "I want us to go back to what we had, to what felt right. We don't need all this, we just need each other." Ty nodded, his brow furrowed in concentration. "I don't want to lose you either, Jess. I'm just so scared of making the wrong decision again." They both knew that it wouldn't be easy, but they were willing to try. They decided to focus on healing their relationship, one step at a time. "We'll take this slow," Ty said, his voice steady. "We don't need anything else but each other." Determined to rebuild their relationship, Jessica and Ty sought professional help. They found Dr. Karen, a therapist who specialized in helping couples navigate difficult situations. With Dr. Karen's guidance, they began to understand that the problems they were facing went far beyond the open relationship. It was about trust, communication, and unmet emotional needs. In therapy, Jessica and Ty slowly began to open up to each other in ways they hadn't before. They talked about their fears, desires, and what they truly wanted from their relationship. It was difficult at first, but slowly, they began to reconnect, rebuilding the foundation of their marriage. "I didn't realize how much I was holding back," Ty admitted during one of their sessions. "I thought I was doing the right thing, but it only drove us further apart." Jessica reached out, taking his hand. "I feel the same way. I thought we needed space, but I realize now that what we needed was closeness, honesty." Dr. Karen nodded, offering them both a reassuring smile. "You're on the right track. Remember, it's about understanding each other, not just about what's happening on the outside, but what's happening inside both of you." As the weeks went by, Jessica and Ty worked hard to rebuild their relationship. They learned to communicate more openly and honestly, and slowly, the distance between them began to close. There were still moments of doubt, but they were stronger now, facing each challenge together. One evening, after a long day, they took a walk through the park, hand in hand. It was a simple, quiet moment, but for both of them, it was everything. They had come so far, through pain, confusion, and regret, and now they were finding each other again. "I'm glad we found our way back," Jessica said softly, resting her head on Ty's shoulder. Ty smiled, squeezing her hand. "Me too, Jess. Me too." As they continued walking, their fingers intertwined, they both knew that the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, but they were ready to face it together. No longer were they searching for something outside their relationship to make them happy. They had everything they needed in each other. And with that, they took a step forward together, knowing that no matter what challenges lay ahead, they had found their way back to love.